a.m. or the
Hey,
or
not
the
to worry.
11 a.m.
We
Not
have
to
one.
worry, God's with us.
We have one setting, and it's between 11 and 12. But it's all good, you know.
Yeah.
God happens to be an LVN ambassador as well, so we're good.
Yeah.
That is true. All right, so the meeting's being recorded, folks. Don't say anything stupid. Let's get started. Let's see what we got here. I guess I'll just slave away and do the attendees list. Hold on. Raven Karam. And then Jonathan, or just John. It's not Jonathan, it's just John. Sorry. And then somebody else is requesting. Oh, so Josh. Hell yeah, Josh is Josh requested to join the meeting. Josh, hey, you there? Hey, Josh, you there? Whatever, dude. I guess not. All right, we're gonna get started. Oh, I think Zach is supposed to be on. Where is Zach? Zach has like a big portion of the agenda. Let me open up Slack real quick. Oops. Yeah. Oh, there he is. Just as I was typing him. Now he is. I was just talking about you, Zach. Hey, Zach, you there? There's Mark Salent too. Let's get him on. And then Jacob as well. Jacob's on.
What's up, man?
What's up, Jacob?
Hey, man. How's it going?
It's going all right, man. Just having nightmares about WinPack, you know. Same old, same old.
Can't believe you guys are still installing that.
Shh, it's being recorded. The meeting's being recorded. Don't talk about WinPack.
WinPack.
Stop it, Josh. I know that's you. Put yourself on mute, Josh, for starting the meeting.
Yeah, Halloween's over, buddy.
Halloween's over. Cool. Hey, Zach, are you on the call?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, man. What's up?
Oh, not much. How are you guys?
Pretty good. We got a jam-packed agenda and a jam-packed attendees list. So we're gonna get started once I get the attendees all. So Josh Leviton, and then Zach. How do you pronounce your last name? Cordova? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Word. Man, we had a big day yesterday, didn't we, Zach?
Oh yeah, quite a bit of stuff going on, and those. I think that thread got like 130 replies or so.
It was the biggest thread yet. It's a milestone.
Yeah, you saw your thing that you're gonna try to teach more people to use the threads versus just going on conversation.
Yeah, I did. I did post a video, but I'll run through that again just to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, probably a good
I
idea.
ended up having to turn my vibration off on my phone because of those. It was going crazy.
Oh yeah, because the threads will notify you too, even if you set it like to not. Yeah, that sucks. Sorry. I forgot to do a quote. Does anybody have any inspirational quote they want to drop into Slack or anything? Success is built on a mountain of failure. How about that? Get uncomfortable because there's no growth in the comfort zone. Is that good? Cool. I don't know who said that, but I guess I did. So success is built on a mountain of failure. Cool. All right. Thanks, guys, for attending. I love these meetings. Every week, they just keep getting better. And the purpose of these meetings are to build the community, grow strategies, and knowledge sharing. This is a healthy and positive environment. Positivity is one of the cornerstones of this meeting and our entire group, as well as building the community, sharing that knowledge in a healthy and positive way. So I just want to keep reminding people of that. The record button has been pressed, so this is being recorded. It will be put on YouTube for your viewing and listening pleasure after the show. And then phones on mute unless you're talking, obviously. And they've got the Slack ambassador channel. So let me get a little split screen action here. Booyaka. We got a lot of stuff going on in the ambassador ambassador channel. It's been very active over the weekend, which is awesome. We're really coming together as a group and getting some stuff done, which is great. Got some organizers. I'm not sure if Mark Solent's going to be able to talk about his cable termination stuff that he wanted to talk about, but we'll see about that. And then we got, I think, Marco and Zach, and then some other folks. I got some updates as well. So, and then the LBN shirts, that's still at the top of the housekeeping items. I think there's only a few days left for that group buy. Is that the case, Marco, for the shirts?
You know, I don't know if it just stops or if it's just like up to the organizer, aka me. I'll have to check it and see. I know I saw some things come through or some orders.
Yeah. I have to. I got to order a couple. I got to order one for myself and one for Christina. So I'll get on that. And y'all, I think the link is somewhere in this agenda, and I dropped it in Slack as well. I think it's at the very bottom. Yep, group order. Boom, there it is right there. 7 days left, it says. I don't know what that's all about. I guess Marco will figure it out. Cool.
I'll check it.
Right on. The action items, they're just kind of rolling action items. Make sure you follow the ambassadors. You don't have to, but it's encouraged. Follow them on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's huge right now, especially for me. I love it. And Instagram's a big hub for all of us. It's where most of us have met. Just keep that healthy, positive flow of engagement on all social platforms. It's how we amplify our message. It's how we promote stuff like the gold standard. It's how we promote the positive messaging and low voltage nation. So social media is our central hub of amplifying our message and getting stuff done. So interact with them. Get your shirts if you want one. So let's dive right into the agenda. So there's been some conversations around like cable terminations, color coding, and we're building out this rack as well. So hey, Mark Solent, are you on the call? Did you want to add anything to that, to the cable termination stuff, or what is your status?
I am on the call. I'm currently cleaning up glass from a window that broke. So I'm multitasking.
Okay. Is there like a burglar in the house or something? What is going on, Mark?
There was some ninja couch action, and a foot might have gone through a window.
Yeah.
Any urgent care appointments?
No, thank God, everyone's all right. So
Well, that's
can't
good.
complain too much about that.
So what was your intent for the because you chose the cable termination stuff? I know you've been doing a lot of cool stuff with those ferals, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah. Hold on, let me just put this down here real quick. Sorry. Yeah. So I got the Pro Data Key kit in today for when you sign up for the certification. They send you a kit, which is pretty cool. And all like they have power cables on there, and all of the strands were completely messed up, like just horrible. And so it just reminded me that is like the reason for having ferals.
Right.
They're really cool. I bought a set of cheap crimpers off eBay, and they work. I'm not going to say they don't. But if you start doing 5 or 6, like you'll feel it in your hand. It's like a weird, I don't know. It's a weird type of muscle, like that you're using, that it just makes your hand really stiff after a while. So I got these Weidmuller crimpers, and they are fantastic. They're just so easy. They're so smooth. I don't know if anyone else has any like the Kinepix one. A lot of people use those. I'm sure they're just as good, maybe even better. I don't know. So I'm just playing around with them. I'm going to put them on basically everything I can now. I'm obsessed. But with as far as a discussion goes, there was a little bit of discussion about what to do with drain wires. And if you look in the Facebook group, I don't remember if it's Real Access Control Professionals or one of the other ones, and everyone is doing something different with drain wires. And so I did some research, and IPVM.com has a very brief article about drain wires. And basically they're saying it's all over the board based on manufacturers on what they recommend. So there's issues that people mentioned of having it terminate to ground on both sides of like a reader and at the panel. So I'm just kind of wondering what everyone's doing. What is the best practice? What is the LVN gold standard regarding drain wires? That's all.
Yeah. Anybody want to take that? I know Marco had some insight on drain wires. What's your stance on drain wires, Marco?
Yeah, yeah. I know. I forget who. I think I mentioned it in the Slack channel. Mark, was it back to you on it? I think were we going back and forth a little bit?
Yeah, because I posted the screenshots from that thread just in case anyone's not in that Facebook group, and I mean it was really all over the place. Everyone's talking about either just completely leaving them alone, snipping it, and putting it over electrical tape. Really have every different type of answer.
Yeah, I don't know why that's so manufacturer spread. With everything that we've ever done, we always utilize it. We don't leave it just floating in the breeze or disconnected because that defeats the purpose of the shielding in it. And anything that we ever do as far as access control goes, we utilize the shield and the drain wire, and it's continuous. But of course, if your panels aren't grounded correctly, you're not going to retain that shield. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's a best practice effort, but if you don't do it correctly from your electrical side, then the rest of it's not going to matter because you're not going to get it complete drain all the way through with the grounding and the isolation. So that's why we always utilize it, and we always utilize it throughout.
Makes sense. If it's there, it's probably there for a reason. So
it
I
is.
don't know if you want to post any pictures on either like the ambassador group or whatever of just like how you're grounding these reader side and panel side. I'd be interested in seeing it because I started looking through pictures of other panels and like there's not a lot of drain wire usage at all.
Yeah, definitely. I'll dig through my photos too from our sites because we got a lot of sites that are kind of coming to the finishes now. So we'll be tying that in completely, of course, on all ends. So I'll definitely do that.
Nice, thank you, appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have any insight on drain wires? How you're terminating them using
Yeah,
them?
I have a question. I'd love some clarification between drain wire and your shield. I know the shield part is meant for interference, EMI, especially on data wire, and then your drain wire. I know with some drain wire, isn't that supposed to be meant for reference on serial communications? Because I know on the fire alarm side, the only time we ever use shielded wire is on the data side of the communications, and it's just meant for making sure that any electrical doesn't interrupt in the data communications.
Yeah, exactly, Steve. You got it right. Think about like Firewire, like your 14.2, your 16.2, your 16.4, 14.4, whatever you may be using. If it's shielded, it's going to keep that interference out isolated. And if you have a drain wire, typically more on the access control side, that's going to keep your ground with your shielding as well. So you'll really have two isolators is essentially what it comes out to.
Okay, because I know sometimes guys are saying that you don't want to ground the drain along with the shield because then that will bring in interference if some interference is going to ground.
Yeah, essentially it creates a big antenna is what it would do. So you want to make sure that,
Okay.
The understanding is a shield and a drain are two separate things. One's going to you're both going to really keep it isolated, but they do two different situations or two different impacts on it.
Yeah, I know I've seen it's where a lot of guys will just, when you're stripping back the cable jacket, you're just cutting off the shield and then just kind of wrapping some electrical tape. And then I've seen it to where if it's like, let's say on the simplex side, ID net, or pretty much any SLC, communication coming in that I've seen where they've twisted all the shields together and then pulled it back and taped it around with electrical tape.
Yeah, I've seen both of those too. Like the same way people take an extra wire and they just kind of wind it around the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there's not more issues with people's systems when they don't do that completely, you know.
Maybe they do
Yeah,
have
I know
issues.
for
They
some
just like the service
terminations,
call.
there's actually a slot or a screw terminal for shield, depending on the board or the reasoning for it, as for whether or not you need to terminate the shield or not. But also too, is that the drain wire for reference for serial communication instead of dealing with interference.
So, Steve, did you get your question answered? Was that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's just, because I know I've seen some, what is it, like 18.2 shielded, because usually your power wire is not going to really be shielded that much. It's more data. And to where, you have your black conductor, your red conductor, and then what I would believe is your drain, just like a silver wire. And then you have your shield that wraps everything up together. And so you're wanting your drain wire to be terminated, but not your shield, I guess. Is that correct?
Well, Steve, you shouldn't be able to ground out the shield. The shield should just be preventing that interference as a whole. And then the drain wire is what's going to keep your voltage grounded, or any voltage grounded.
Okay. That makes sense then.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions around drain wires or cable terminations in general?
Well, something I'd like to add in terms of using a drain wire is some I've noticed on some access control systems and some security systems and whatnot is some don't even accommodate. They don't have a terminal or way to use, a specific way to hook up a drain wire. So I would say in terms of putting that into a gold standard, that'd really depend on what kind of accommodation your system has for even using it.
So it's really whether or not you're doing like an access control system or whatever application would dictate what you do with it because of there's not accommodations for it.
Right. Basically, yeah, if there's not an accommodation,
I got you.
There needs to be exceptions for it. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents.
I got you. Thanks, Zach. Okay. Let's move on down to the there's a lot of discussion around the 4U rack. So the intent for this is to have a starting point for a gold standard for a 4U rack. I know that Pierce installs a lot of these for like small to medium sized businesses, whether it's data, voice, and as well as some other applications. But Zach has put together a first draft of what we think might be a good starting point for a gold standard, and this is what we're going to be building out at the first LVN meetup. So kudos to Zach for putting this together and really taking this by the horn. So I really appreciate that first and foremost. Zach, just kind of walk us through like what your thought process was with this, if you don't mind.
So my thoughts were to implement several different technologies into this because usually when you have a data rack in most environments, you're using it more for than just network access because you're going to have wireless and you're going to have your voice and video and access control and a whole bunch of different things. So in the mock-ups I made for the rack, I was trying to incorporate some other aspects into it. So we have more to look at, as we discussed last night in a private channel, we were talking about, it's going to be basically a 3-hour meeting at the meetup. So trying to get the most out of that as possible would be ideal. So I had put in some other things like a 3CX phone system running on a Raspberry Pi and a couple Yealing phones, and then even some kind of a video system with a couple of IP cameras and a VMS software possibly running on a Raspberry Pi or some kind of small server or something else inside the rack on a VM. So what I basically tried to design is something that was all-inclusive in the rack that was easy to transport. Originally, I thought it was kind of like a demonstration type of a thing, kind of a for looks but functional, like a demo basically. But obviously, we're trying to do some training on it, so we wouldn't have the ability for people to work with it and whatnot, and actually have a functional system to work on. So, with that in mind, I don't know if we want to keep it more to just having people terminate stuff, like more termination and hardware related stuff, or if we want to have software related and setting up the routers and phone system and extensions and whatnot as well, or how far we want to take that, which I guess is, kind of my question to you. How much do we want to have involved in the rack, if you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So the starting point, my vision, and I'm open obviously to suggestions, is start with the structured cabling side of things, like the patch panel, and then just basically putting in like the keystones, terminating them, and then having the proper color coding as just a starting point for that gold standard, because that's kind of where a lot of this starts, is with the structured cabling, and then we can start building up the stack of technology towards phone systems, access control systems, programming, and all that. So
yeah, I would agree. I mean, if you're going to, if the intent is to have 10, 12, 15 guys around a table and to be banging on this rack, in tandem and getting some real experience on it, I think it's a great opportunity to build the rack out over time, if that makes sense, right? So
yep,
start with the structured cabling, and then maybe the next meetup we dive into VoIP and surveillance and so on. But looks killer. You did a great job, Zach.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah, that was Eric talking, I believe. So thank you, Eric.
So question. So would we want to modify it to make it full of like switches and patch panels and jacks to mainly focus on terminations and cabling the rack itself this time around?
I think so. That's where my mind initially went. I'm going to kind of kick it over to some other people. Pierce, are you on the phone?
Yeah, I'm sitting here kind of quietly, and first off, thank you to Zach for putting this mock-up together. This has been a great reference, and he and I bounced around some ideas last night, but I haven't had a chance to circle back to him. So my take on it is this, that if it's a 14-year rack, like what I normally work on, having more than two guys working on it at one time is going to be a little bit tight space-wise and just getting each other's way, and that's just from experience. If our goal at this meetup is to work on structured cabling and how you terminate and how you do that kind of stuff, that could all sort of be done on the side on a table or something, where guys be practicing with the keystones and the jacks and the crimpers and everything else. This could just sort of be like a finished product mock-up that you're looking at, this reference, just to be like, when we're done, we do gold standard this. Now, in terms of demonstrating different ways to interconnect, different ways to do all the patch panel work or the cabling work to keep it clean, sure, we can. That's fine there. To keep it down to 14U, one thing I was going to pitch back to Zach was that bottom section where you got the cameras and the wall plates, drop that down even lower to just a 1U if we want to have ports to plug stuff into, like guys want to hook up laptops or whatever there. And then we can have cameras sitting on top or wherever we want to like that and keep it even cleaner further. Likewise, take the phones out, put those on the table, and that gives us more space if we want to practice or demonstrate different ways to interconnect different pieces of equipment you see in the rack. Because it's rare you're going to walk into a rack unless it's a server and see phones sitting on there on a shelf. Because that's just that's real estate you don't want to give up typically.
Right, and I totally agree with that too. So I think that's a great idea. So then at that point we could fill up the rack with switches and patch panels. And like you said, because I think most of us here use the Keystone style patch panels, we could just disperse those around the table, bring a bunch of Keystones, chop up cable into 1-foot segments, and then just have people punching down on pucks around the table. That'd probably be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's easy. That's a skill that we can easily demonstrate and show people without everyone standing in front of the rack. I think the rack is to say, look, once you get all your terminations done, you got everything finished and built out, this is how you start putting all the pieces together. And this is how you start making it look, quote unquote, like the gold standard we want it to look like. And I think there's one way to do it where, we patch everything in from an open stance. We don't hide anything on ours. But likewise, we could put some neat patch inserts in there and show people how to do it, where you are going to have, 5-foot cables and start hiding stuff and different ways to sort of go about it, the advantages of one style versus another style, and really sort of pick everyone's brains on what's the most efficient or the most effective way to build out a rack, depending on what the endpoint usage is going to be.
Like, can I back up and kind of just pose a question to you? What is your hopeful attendance for the first meetup?
Right now we have 3 people that have committed to it on meetup.com. I posted that out last night. I honestly don't know. I capped it off at 25. I might put it up to 30, but I have no idea. I have yet to have anybody commit to it that's here locally, but I know that Pierce might be coming, John Laurie, Mike from Vertical Cable, and Marco, out of town people potentially, and then just a handful of people locally. So right now, maybe 7, probably more though, once I start promoting it.
Okay.
I'll know more by next week, obviously.
I just wonder, like I posted on the thread yesterday in Slack, I think that if we give, I think Pierce is going to reach out to Chatsworth. If we give, guys like Chatsworth a call and the folks at, Mark with Cisco Small Biz, I think these guys will get behind it. And and I really think that, to Pierce's point, 2 guys on a 14U rack is pretty tight. Maybe we start by reaching out and seeing if we can build, 2 racks, in parallel with one another, with the support of those guys and see if we can really get them to step behind LBN.
I think that's a great idea. Go ahead, Pierce.
I was going to say, we can get racks. That's not a problem. I can put 3 or 4 or 5 if we wanted them. The question I have is this, and this was sort of kicked around on Slack yesterday. Is this a one-time thing? We're going to build them, show it, and we're done? Or are we going to break these down and then take them to another site and take them to another meetup and keep we got to think about it being a mobile, transportable sort of setup.
It's going to be mobile. The goal is just to tour the country with them. That's big picture stuff.
It's our trade show booth.
It is to a certain extent. It's a starting point for rolling up the gold standard and hosting these meetup events. It's kind of like the centerpiece of it, if you will.
Well, that's fine. That's the case. I think we look at it from a slightly different perspective about building it from the standpoint to make it easy to assemble, easy to disassemble, and how we're going to pack it, to transport it, and get it moving around. Those racks, when they ship, they're just in a long tube, basically. It's like a 4-inch tube. It's easy, but we got to think about what we're going to mount it to, how we're going to have that stay, how it doesn't tip, that kind of stuff. Well, I know these are details, but there's things we need to think about.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I guess the action item is in terms of getting Chatsworth. Is it Chatsworth or what's the name of the company?
Chatsworth.
Is somebody going to reach out to them and see if they can provide us with some free stuff?
I will call their international head of marketing tomorrow and see what we can do. And by the way, their assembly plant for that style rack is right there in Tennessee.
Okay.
That's where they build them all.
Okay. So you're going to reach out to.
Yeah, I've got them on speed dial. I'll call them in the morning.
Cool. And then go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask real quick. Are we looking at more like a skeletal rack or like a rack enclosure?
It's an open frame 14U rack or 13U rack.
14U open frame. Okay.
Yeah, there's no sides. If you look at the stuff I post on Instagram, it's the same rack I always use. You can't hide anything in there. So any fuck ups you make or anything you screw up, it's visible. You really, if you want it to quote unquote look good and be a gold standard, you got to be on your game to really manage the cables and really make it look clean and solid.
Yeah, I want it to be as close to real world scenario as possible.
There's two ways to look at that. We do that style all the time because it's easy to service, it's easy to work within. A lot of guys use closed ones because they're worried about security and access.
Right, I got you.
So
Chris here. I can probably get. I mean, Pierce's has the better hookup over there at Chatsworth, but I work with a couple of other vendors that we could probably snag a enclosed rack as well if we wanted to have like one of each. Similar size point.
That's Chris Tiffany right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the 14U skeletons from ADI, Chris. Those work just as good.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Otherwise, we could grab the ADI one too because we use those real heavy too.
So Zach, what are your thoughts? Do you want to just stick with one 14U for now? That's kind of where my mind's going.
Well, so like someone mentioned earlier, I don't remember who mentioned this, but it's going to be tough to get, two people around a single rack. So if we're wanting people to try to build out the rack as well, it may be wise for us to look at two smaller racks so we can get two people actually building the rack at the same time, so we can actually put together the rack too. But 14U, I guess it really depends on how many people we have showing up and what everyone's skill level is, and what the feasibility of transporting the rack would be.
Yeah.
Let me talk to the guys tomorrow at Chatsworth, and I know I can get at least 14U racks. Let me see if I can get two of those and 221s that we could sort of have on deck, if you will, for if we want to expand it later on, and we can start using those as we see the need, because that would give us a little more room to experiment, a little more ways to give people access to try different things.
So what would be logistics, Pierce? Pick them up in Tennessee and then drive them to Nashville? What are your thoughts?
Well, no, I mean, they're super tiny. I could either ship them to you, you can sit on them, or we could ship them here to where I am, and I could build up a way to mount them and ship that down to you.
Okay,
I mean,
that makes sense.
Yeah, they're easy. There's no size constraint.
Okay, and then go ahead.
Even when they're put together, they're pretty easy to ship around.
Okay, cool. And then in terms of, I guess Vertical Cable can provide a lot of the patch panel stuff and keystones. I'll talk to Mike. Does anybody else have any suggestions for patch panel stuff and keystones, or should we just go Vertical Cable?
Just from a professional preference, if we do Vertical Cable, get their shielded patch panels, not their standard ones. They're just a hell of a lot sturdier, and they're only from a use in the field, they're only like $3 more.
You said shielded patch panels?
Yeah, I can send you parts. You've got part numbers if you need them.
Okay, man.
They look better. They look better and they're sturdier.
You're just getting all sorts of action items, Pierce. Here we go.
I don't care. Hey man, I'm home doing daddy house husband for the ever. I need something to do.
Yeah, action item.
If you're interested in multiple brands, I know I can get Signamax, which is a very similar style panel. Signamax panels and jacks as well. Pretty much as many as we want on demo.
Okay, and that's Chris.
If we want two different brands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris, were you planning on attending the meetup?
I haven't seen the dates or anything else because I've been slammed this weekend on a few job sites. So what was the date on it? Sorry.
January 19th.
I mean, if Pierce can make it, then I can make it. If
I'm not sure what that means, but okay.
It means we're both fucking unemployed.
It means we're both.
I got you.
It means we're both waiting on the same projects, is what it means. So
that's funny. I got you.
No, it's not. I'm tired of this shit.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll find your work in Tennessee. Just come hang out here. There's plenty of it.
I'll bring my toolbox. I'll just hang out there for a while.
Oh, yeah, why not? Cool. Yeah, definitely come, Chris, and whatever you can provide to the rack would be helpful. So I appreciate it.
And real quick, something I might be able to get my hands on. I don't know if anyone has any experience with ICC equipment. I've had good luck with it. I've used it from time to time. I have a pretty good relationship with our rep there. So that might be something else we could get in terms of keystones and patch panels and whatnot.
ICC's rock solid too.
Okay.
Yeah, and Zach, Marco here. Let me know because we do a boatload of ICC. Probably primarily on the multi-tenant side. So a lot of jacks, faceplates, and whatnot. So if you have any trouble, then just let me know.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. And it's something else I could even see. I don't know who does residential structured cabling here. But some else, adding other things into the mix here in terms of structured cabling, they do a lot of residential, like structured cabling enclosures and, the residential side of structured cabling. I don't know if anyone would have any interest in seeing any of that, but I could possibly get some demo equipment in terms of the residential structured cabling side for building out a residential structured cabling cabinet.
I think that's a great idea because if you look at a residential wall can versus a rack like we use commercially, that's two totally different beasts. And you got to look at them kind of differently in how you lay stuff out.
Right. So I could see if I could get maybe a few 14-inch residential enclosures and some of the modules you put inside, and we could build a couple of those out as well.
That'd be sweet.
And my apologies because I haven't been a part of the conversations this weekend, so I might be out of the loop here. Is there any interest in a fiber distribution panel and fiber termination side at all, or not? I mean, I've got one of my vendors would be happy to send a Senko system out. I'm not sure if there's any interest in that at all or not.
I would say not for this one.
Perfect.
Let's stick on the copper side. Maybe the next one in New York City.
Sure.
We gotta get through the first meetup. We don't want to add any more complexity to it.
Come on now, that's half the fun,
It can be. Yeah. Well, you're not organizing it.
Oh, believe me, I just finished a 90-person training that we organized in 7 days in Texas. I do not envy you. So
it's all good. No, I appreciate it. We'll keep that in mind for the next one. That's awesome. Okay. What else? And then for for switches and routers, I've got one of the Cisco. I actually got two Cisco switches. I'm going to try and get Mark McGow to get a router.
I'm pretty sure Mark will cough up whatever we ask for.
I know, right?
I mean, seriously.
Yeah. Do we want to go Cisco or do you want to use your Ubiquity stuff, Piers?
Cisco.
I
mean,
have my
Cisco.
RMA switch if anyone needs it.
Yeah, fuck that shit. I'll sell my shit on eBay. Let's go Cisco because that's what ultimately that really is. If you're looking at gold standard,
Cisco.
Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's just roll with that. No point in using your stuff. Piers.
It's fine. It's more money I can get on eBay for Christmas toys.
Just put it on eBay. We're sick of hearing about it. All right.
Hey,
Believe
Piers,
me, it'll be up there tonight.
Piers, if you're sitting around just board listing things on eBay, I got a pile of Ubiquity stuff for you.
Give me part numbers and I'll list it for you. Just give me a cut.
Ubiquity will not be sponsoring LVN at all.
Well, at the
Fuck
meetup,
you.
we'd all have to be on the forums if we needed help.
Yeah, we'll be on the forums all day.
We got a projector. I can blast it on it.
Yeah, sweet.
All right. I think we got some good action items for this. We'll just continue this discussion in Slack unless Zach, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we close this section up?
Oh yeah, one last thing that we discussed in a private channel yesterday was doing an alarm panel. I don't know what all aspects of low voltage we'd want to do, but that's something I could get us hooked up with is a like a hybrid alarm system showing the gold standard for wiring up an alarm panel, because there's there's a lot of ins and outs on alarm panels and stuff. I don't know who all here does security or not, but on wiring it up nice and whatnot.
Yeah, just start mapping that out, I guess. We had talked about that in the private channel, and then just for a future meetup, let's keep that in mind.
Okay, that's not something you'd want to do this time around.
I would say not, unless anybody else thinks it's like a requirement or necessary for this meetup.
No, I think
it's a great idea.
Just going to keep the KISS method going.
Yep.
Okay.
I would love to see the alarm stuff later, just from purely professional curiosity. I'd be all over watching how that's done.
Okay.
Well, it's definitely a hot button item for sure. So we'll tackle that in the future.
Yeah, I have no experience with it. I'd love to learn more.
Sweet. All right. Cool, man. Well, thanks again, Zach. That was pretty huge of you to do that yesterday. So, and thanks everybody else for contributing to it. Really appreciate it. Let's talk about color coding. Have we decided on what we're going to use for the color coding? This kind of ties back to the rack, but we also have a kind of an overarching color coding scheme. I know that Marco at Enterprise CC uses this color coding scheme, but Marco, what are your thoughts on using this, or like what's the entire group think about it?
It's up to you guys. I mean, we kind of came up with it because we do such a broad or wide vertical, so we try to balance everything out color wise. You know, red is strictly fire, and then everything else kind of breaks up from there. But it's up to you guys. I mean, we can do it where we can revamp it and say, all right, we're just going to focus on, you know, what low voltage as far as the data and voice side goes, and then we can kind of structure it that way, or we can go off of, you know, one of the ones that we built out. It's totally up to everyone.
Are we looking at this to be what each of us adopts to operate under? Like, what's the idea here?
No, I think it was just for the meetup. I think, right, Blake? Is that right?
Well, I mean, we are trying to create this gold standard. It would be nice to figure out what's been used in the past, and then what we can use moving forward as a standard.
Well, I'm on board with all that, but I definitely have been in situations where clients ask for certain colors for certain
That's
things.
true. Right. Yeah, same here.
I mean,
especially like hospitals too. That we deal with that a lot, where they have a specific standard already. And Pierce, like you're saying, I know sometimes you use green, sometimes you use orange, or blue. It depends on what you're doing with it, you know.
Yeah.
So it might be like a touch and go kind of thing. You know, gold standard is cool for color codes, but sometimes, you know, the guy who's paying you drives that. So that may be a little caveat.
So
well, I mean, hell, there's times when.
And
Go ahead.
I originally posted this in Slack yesterday, and it surprisingly Zach jumped in right away, and then Marco, you chimed in as well, and I think Pierce, you were chiming in also. And my intent was really just to kind of see what y'all using, and then see about, again, you know, thoughts about developing a gold standard, with the caveat to exactly what Marco said. You know, if we're going into an existing infrastructure that is probably already defined, they probably would not appreciate our gold standard color code over the top of theirs. But you know, I just wanted to see what your guys' thoughts were on that.
I mean, when the way I build a site, I don't deviate too much from what Marco has here right there. The only variance might be like if we do data, we tend to do a lot of green for data just because it's like the name of the company and it looks good. But like white for voice and everything else, all that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be nice to have a standard. That, I mean, for me personally, I would love to have something like this because I could just kind of like, well, this is the gold standard, you know, just kind of say this is how we do it at Low Voltage Nation. So I think coming up with something I think it'd behoove us to do that.
All right.
Yeah, I think it would be rad. I mean, and then, you know, again, if we're going into new installs, right, a new build or what have you, we can leverage the gold standard and
exactly,
you know, take pride in it.
Yeah, especially if we're the guys running the show, you know, and we're starting out fresh with it, then we can of course implement, you know, however we all see fit, you know.
Yep. So do we want to adopt what Marco has here, or do we want to make some adjustments to it?
Well, so something I'd like to throw in, like I mentioned on the Slack channel yesterday, is wouldn't the gold standard technically be the EIA and TIA regulations? Because somewhere, if you Google the EIA and TIA color coding standards, there's a whole breakdown for pretty much every color in existence, what it's for, in terms of data.
Where is that? I started looking for that out of curiosity. I couldn't find it. Where the hell is it?
Yeah, somebody get a link for that, please.
Yeah, I'll find that real quick.
Because I mean, I know they define
I've
termination.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I know they define terminations, and that's, you know, obviously what we're all going to do, but I've never seen a color, you know, if you're doing cameras, it's this. If you're doing TVs, it's that breakdown.
Yeah, I don't think EIA-TIA gets that
Yeah, I think
in depth.
maybe you're saying just the termination, like A or B, right?
Yeah, I think we're not deviating from that at all, because I'm so sick and tired of coming up with guys who come up with their own or rainbow the crap out of shit hoping it works. It's either A or B. I mean, pick a standard and stick to it.
Pierce, if they make up their own color code and it works, I want to talk to those guys.
Dude, I found it. And it drives me batshit crazy.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
But even more insane is when you're on the site and there's like 6 different color schemes and they're all working. I'm like, you actually had to take time to fucking do that. You had to plan out 6 different variances and make sure you did it end to end, and It was consistent.
Wow.
Yeah, don't get me started.
Well, it's true, right? If you match the pinouts, they're going to work on both sides. If it's completed, the color doesn't matter. You know,
Right, but
for all intents and purposes, the blind guy can just put the pinout together.
right. But for the guy coming in next, he opens it up and goes, "What the?" I mean, that's what we're trying to prevent here.
So do we want to just go ahead and
Yeah.
move forward with keeping Enterprise CC as the gold standard, unless anybody else has any suggestions? What do we think?
Chris here. My only comment on it pretty much is I'd say globally, blue is sort of the accepted standard for typical structured data cabling. So not, I mean, I love green, but from
Make
like
it blue or green.
you know, from like a, you know, you walk in the door, blue is typically the color that is for data cabling,
Sure.
and white is
Yeah.
voice. Like
I
that's
thought that too.
that's
Right.
been the standard for the last 20 years or more.
Yep.
So like that is the
We
standard.
use a lot
but-
of the green in the multi-tenant side, just
Oh, yeah.
because you know we start with it that way, and we're like, well, you know, it's
Oh,
an
I-
apartment unit.
if I'm adding wiring to someone else's mess, 9 out of 10 times I'm using a different color to make sure my stuff's separated
Right.
from their stuff. So I don't have
Right.
a problem with it. Just that, you know,
Sure.
So just make it blue or green. I mean, either or. It doesn't have to be one. Absolutely one.
I don't know if I like that, but that's fine.
There's no other blue on Marco's color scheme except blue with a white stripe, and that's
I
for
got
door
you.
stripes, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you put
All right.
Kramer's pink in too.
It's only for special occasions.
What was it, pink?
And what's a Cat 5 for cameras, Marco? Come on. Cat 6.
It's old. Find me a gigabit camera.
Do you need to update this, Marco? Or what are we doing here?
We can. Hey, man, you know, sometimes price is a problem for people. What can I say?
What?
We gotta
There's
work with what we
that
get.
too. Yeah, there's that too. My God.
All right.
You guys use Cat 3 for cameras? Sure. How well do you want it to work?
All right, so this is a collaborative document moving forward. If you guys need to make any adjustments, just add suggestions or comments. So we're going to try and build this out, guys. It's big picture stuff here. Cool. Next item. I got a lot of stuff on the agenda here. The meetup, Nashville, January 19th. It's on meetup.com. I'll send out information on Slack. We have this web interview. So Mark Salent sent me questions, and then I filled them out and I posted them on lowvoltagenation.com. And my thought was I'll pick the next person to interview and send the next person questions. And that next person is going to be Marco. And then Marco is going to select the next person. And we're going to do every ambassador unless anybody else has any objections to that. But everybody will have an interview. So Marco, are you okay with that? Because you're up next.
Sure. Are we doing it right now?
No, absolutely not. We're sending a list of questions, and we'll have a pool of questions you can kind of select from and make your own questions if you want. Just kind of tailor it to the person that you're interviewing, and then we'll publish on the website. And boom, there it is.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Cool.
It's good to get different ideas, you know.
Yeah, and it'll be like a big thread, like like Mark Slint was the first, I'm the second, you're the third, and then we just each get to know each other a little bit better. It'll be nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm on.
Oh, there it is.
Oh yeah, what is that? Oh, that's the standard.
That's okay. Thank you, Zach.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about. I found it online here, and it says EIA TIA, so I don't know if it's accurate or not.
Gotcha. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So next item is LinkedIn. Thank you everybody for joining the ambassador team on LinkedIn. That's a huge platform for us. And one of my asks for you guys on LinkedIn is that once we publish out these interview questions and publish them on the website, just share it out onto your LinkedIn profile just to amplify that message. Gold standard. I'll drop a link into that. Let's see here. Share and then copy link and then boom, drop it in there. So here's the gold standard document. You should have editing capabilities. Add any additions to it that you want or comments and suggestions. We're going to try and build out this gold standard and go from there. Shirts. Order your shirts. Links up there. Google My Business. I uploaded a bunch of pictures and updated a lot of content on my Google My Business for Low Voltage Nation. I highly recommend if you own a business to do this. the pictures, actually the picture just got, one of them got uploaded. I did a whole bunch, but if you look at my Low Voltage Nation search engine result page, I'm dominating the entire like top of it except for one. I pushed these guys all the way down to the bottom. So this just goes to show you how powerful it is to get on social platforms and update your Google My Business, just to dominate that first page.
Blake, put a link to yours just so we can see an example, if you don't mind.
Put a link to what?
Your listing.
The other one to do too, Blake, if you haven't jumped on it yet, is Bing My Places for all those weirdos that don't use Google.
Wait, it's Bing. You said Bing?
Yeah, Bing.
Bing it. That's still a thing, huh? Binging it. Yeah.
It's a generational thing.
Generational thing.
It's a default search engine in Internet Explorer thing. That's what it is.
Apple still uses it a lot too, unfortunately, and for
Really?
Apple Maps. Mm-hmm.
Is that what you wanted, Pierce? I put a link. To
No, I got it. I see what we're referencing. Never mind.
Search for Low Voltage Nation on.
Yeah, Marco did it. I got it.
I'm everywhere.
I tried to help
Marco did the work for you. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Thanks,
you
man.
are everywhere.
No, we are everywhere. Correction. It's not me.
You even outranked National Low Voltage Contractors Association. Damn.
Yeah, crushing it. We are crushing it. It's not just me.
Okay.
So we think.
Okay.
Bring out the anonymous masks.
Yeah, right?
What color are they going to be? We need a standard.
White and black.
I hear RZ Mask can help us out.
Yeah, it's a Patreon. I signed up for some Patreon guys, so if anybody wants to not get a cup of coffee for one day and donate it each month to me, I'm on patreon.com, Low Voltage Nation. This will help me get on the road and start providing some more content and value. So just keep that in mind. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Thank you. Content Tsunami is coming around the corner, 2020. Who's laughing?
Nobody.
Who's laughing? Well, Piers, what's so funny?
Just gonna carry on.
What am I? What?
Nothing. It's just the way you approach that. It was just funny. Never mind. I have a dark sense of humor. Carry on to the Content Tsunami 2020. What do we got?
Gosh, Piers, you're killing me, bro. We're never gonna get through this. We got a 2-hour meeting. So check it. Content Tsunami. I'm going to be on the road. I'm going to be doing meetups. I'm going to be attending conferences, trade shows. We're going to be doing podcasts. So we got a lot of stuff coming in 2020. And just keep that in mind. If you want to contribute, get more involved, just let me know. There's a ton of opportunity. All right. Goal setting and review. Blake Ermis, yeah, right. Exactly. Pierce did absolutely nothing. So Blake did 3 podcasts. And then Marco, what happened with your goals? Did you complete them this week? And what are yours for next week?
Yes, everything completed this week. Good stuff. Good end of week meeting, close up meeting / training. And then this week we're starting one of our projects for 2020 a bit early, so that's good. I'm glad we were able to get in there and get that rolling, and just going after some other proposals, some other GCs and whatnot. We're getting a lot more requests for fire alarm systems, which is interesting. That all of a sudden that's kind of the driver for us.
Interesting. So just staying in business and thriving in a booming economy is what you're doing. That's your goal.
And hopefully it stays that way.
I think it will. And there's plenty of work here in Nashville. I can't say that enough. Cool. Mark Stelent, you still with us? Did you get your van finished? What are you doing? I think Mark dropped off. How is the van coming, Mark?
Hopefully no one broke another window.
I know, right? We'll find
Sounding
out.
violent for a Sunday. Jeez.
I know, right? Gosh. Mason Bortz and I had a conversation last night for over 2 hours, and I'm not sure what we accomplished, but he is not on the call today. But he had a really busy week last week. He accomplished a lot of stuff, and I'm sure you guys saw it on Instagram. He did a really good job at that. I think it was like a warehouse. A lot of good Cat 6A terminations. So I'm not sure what his goals are for this week, but Will Hoffman, skip over him. He hasn't attended in a while. Kramer, are you on the phone call or are you just like chilling in Slack?
He said he's Christmas shopping in Slack.
Yeah, he got stuck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Doing what?
Christmas shopping.
Oh,
My
Christmas.
direct quote. My wife has to do Christmas shopping. Sorry, guys. I tried, but I've not slept well lately and prefer to sleep on the couch. There you go.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, Amazon.com. That's the solution to the problem. John.
Yes.
What are you doing? You got LinkedIn all squared away. Thank you for that. Wait, no, you didn't actually.
I filled out the form, I guess. That
okay.
So I got that done at least.
Yeah.
But then so the last week I tried your advice and actually told one of my customers the raw truth of why I was late, and it actually worked. You know, I should have thought of that before, which was good. They're still upset, but not nearly as
Right.
upset as they were. I think that's the thing, over communicative in this sort of situation. And the other thing I've been working on is that proposal for that manufacturer gig that is somewhat LVM related. Told you about that. It's, all this content got me bubbling up and some important person's feed, and so that's looking up. So I got a proposal due. Let's see, Tuesday on that. Flew down to another client this week and got a lot done with that. That's related to the Engage project I'm working on. So, and I succeeded in not adding anything on top of the pile of crap I find myself under. So I consider that a success. It's I think I've got like at least my nostrils above water now, so I can kind of breathe. So
cool.
I'm glad about that.
Good. I'm glad that proposal came through. I'm going to use you as like a reference point or a testimonial at some point.
Yeah, I got to get to you, like how much of that is I can talk about publicly.
Yeah, I'm going to be cautious. I'm always cautious about that. I'll ask people before I publish stuff.
Yeah. So what? We'll chat about that.
Yep. Sure thing. Cool, man. Pierce, you didn't do shit.
Thanks. Appreciate it. No, I really didn't. I've been house husband nonstop. My wife's traveling again.
Yeah.
So anything you see on that list right there hasn't been checked off. I do have 2 proposals that approached me based on stuff they saw on Instagram. So I'm working on getting stuff together for them to see if I can have a couple other things lined up for next year that aren't so dependent on the main client. So yeah, that's where I am right now.
Okay.
Attaboy.
Yeah, and then just help up with some meetup stuff. Called your folks.
I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, I really
For
want
sure.
you there, man, because you're like a cornerstone of like this whole adventure.
I could kill several birds with one stone if I pull that off correctly. So yeah, I'm going to see if I can really get down there.
Yeah, it's Nashville's a kind of a central hub right by Atlanta. There's plenty of business to do out here too. So absolutely, cool.
Okay.
CTS. I talked to Lauren briefly. They're just super busy. They kind of put social media stuff on the back burner because they got so much going on with expanding into multiple territories. So
good problem to have.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it takes to expand to other territories with multiple trucks and running a business. I have no clue what that looks like. So, Uncle Bear, are you on the call? I don't think Chris is on the call today. What about Raymond?
I'm here.
Yeah, what you got going on last week, and then goals for next week?
Well, I actually got some PTO this week, which was really nice. Spent it with the fam, and I also caught a 48-hour bug where I puked my brains out. So
thank you for sharing.
Sorry, dude.
That was awesome. And
hey, it's full disclosure here.
Yes. Oh, are you saying full disclosure? Or?
No, it's just saying you can speak freely. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Now
Blake's
I'm
gonna
ready.
hit me.
Yeah. So my goal is to get like 5 podcasts right before I pick up the podcast again, and I got 3 of them.
Nice.
So I'd like to pump out 2 more this week, and that's that.
So you're listening to the podcast, or what's your favorite part about the podcast? Everything about the podcast.
Well, I'm saying I've been writing the podcast for Security Today.
Oh wait, is this Raymond or is this Uncle Bear? Who am I talking
This
to?
would be Uncle Bear.
Oh,
that's what you
okay.
called out.
Yeah. Then I didn't hear you respond. I was like, this sounds like Chris. Okay, so
yes.
All right.
Jumped on it, so I just stayed back. You know, I want Uncle Bear.
I got you. Sorry about that, Chris.
My
Uncle
bad,
Bear.
dude.
Don't worry.
So yeah, I want to get 5 podcasts written before I start recording. They're a little more in depth. Security Today. Yeah, it's going to be called
Today. Yeah.
Security Today, and it's going to be like highlighting a industry-related news article, and then coupling it with kind of like a principle or a theory. So, for instance, like convenience over security and what that entails. I know I'll be talking about like how far do we push our morals on vulnerabilities, because everything is vulnerable, everything's hackable, but where do we draw that line? So stuff like that next to news articles.
That's awesome. I did put a link to Security Today. Are you just on SoundCloud, or what else are you pumping out to?
No, it's on SoundCloud and on iTunes.
Oh, you got it on iTunes. So do you want me to put that link? Because I have it on the website. I don't know if you can see my screen, but I have it under the podcast section. And then I have a link to your SoundCloud.
Yeah, you can find it on the iTunes link. If that's probably more fluent.
Okay. Cool, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Kramer, go ahead.
Kramer? What?
You thought I was Kramer, right?
No, I thought you were Raymond.
Oh, Raymond.
Kramer's not on here.
So much miscommunication. Raymond, go ahead.
You're up, Raymond. What's up, man?
Hey guys, yeah, sorry if you hear a little baby in the background. I'm on daddy duty right now, so
gotcha. It's all good.
Yeah, this week was interesting. I had a customer that I did a residential house for a long time ago, and his children go to this small little private Catholic school, and the school could apply for grants up to $250,000 from the state as a nonprofit to upgrade their security. So I went there. It's unbelievable. These schools are so, especially these private schools. Some of them, not all of them, but this one in particular is pretty outdated. Like they didn't have any Berg system in there. They had like on the whole campus, I think 8 or 10 cameras that were just outdated. They had a network switch that was just sitting on the ground. So of course, they called me on Wednesday to go by on Thursday to give them a quote by Friday. It needs to be submitted yesterday to get this grant. So we just mocked up something real quick, but it was just, and their fire alarm was, we don't do a fire alarm yet. So I gave it out to another guy, but it was just like this. I've never seen anything like it. It was so old. It was like at least 50, 60 years old. But that was pretty fun this week. And then we had another customer. I always drive by their shop. They're a huge, they repair semi-trucks. And I hadn't heard from them for like years. Like I'd seen them, but I guess their alarm was working good. That day, I got a report from our monitoring station that they're having issues with their alarm. So we upgraded their alarm, and now they want all new cameras in their huge yard.
Oh, cool.
Can't see anything. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
fun excitement for last week and this upcoming week.
Yeah. Which system are you going to be putting in there for the cameras? You're looking at Eagle Eye?
Until now, I've been doing hike vision, but I just really got turned off from them. And I've been talking to Marco about doing Eagle Eye, and I've done Open Eye. And as I mentioned on the Slack channel, I just realized I love Alarm.com, and I know Marco uses Alarm.com too for residential.
Yep.
I just found out Alarm.com acquired Open Eye, so I'm pretty sure the little collaboration isn't going to happen overnight. But I'm going to reach out to them. But for the time being, I guess. Until I figure it all out, maybe Open Eye. I mean, maybe just hike vision until I
got you. Yep.
Yeah. But alarm-wise, we do DSC Neo and the Qualys IQ panels. We really like those. So just because of they have a technology called Power G And the wireless line of sight is about 1.5 miles. So
Cool.
yeah.
And then what's on the agenda for this week? What are your goals?
Yeah, this week we're going to start that yard, and we're finishing up a residential Qualsys install in San Francisco. It's a 3-story house. I'll send you guys pictures. I made I mocked up a rig, like an enclosure, plastic enclosure. Where I wired the hardwired to wireless communicators. Sorry, guys. And
You're good.
yeah, it turned out pretty nice. So I'll post some pictures on that.
Yeah, is it Qualsys?
Qualsys, yeah, DSC. Well, Tyco or JCI bought out DSC, and then DSC had bought out Qualsys.
Okay.
And they're like a Android-based touchscreen, like 7-inch touchscreen alarm panels.
Okay.
And they're pretty cool because even for takeovers, they have different panels where you could get their own standard frequency, and then they also have that Power G frequency built into it. But then if you go to your supplier, it will say, like, say if you're doing a house with Honeywell, they'll have a Qualsys Honeywell takeover panel. So it has that frequency also built into it. Or if you have a DSC, or if you have a GE, you could pick your panel based on the takeover you're doing.
Cool.
So they're pretty neat, and they're very, very easy to install. And they come with cool features like they have a built-in glass break sensor, camera. They have onboard tutorial videos that, if a customer doesn't know how to swap out a battery or doesn't know how to do something, you just click on the screen and go to tutorial videos, and it teaches the customer exactly what to do without.
Oh, nice.
Really, yeah, they're really nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
The issue I see with Qualsys though is wholesale they're about $500, give or take a little bit. But when when the radios sunset and you need to replace the radios, there's no radio card you can just swap out. You have to replace the whole panel, and then you have to charge the customer at least the $500 plus your chip charge and stuff to replace it.
Yeah.
So I don't see them very economical to be. I mean, they're great panels, but if they just have a removable cellular card, they'd be great.
Wow. Oh.
That's
Thanks, Zach.
That's a good point.
Cool. Let's see. Up next, Mick Andrews. You on the call?
Hey, yes, Blake. I'm here, mate.
What's up, Mick? What'd
mate.
you do? What'd you do last week, and what you got going on this week?
So I see you got listed the Ubiquity link. I've definitely knocked that one over. That was a couple of weeks ago now, and that's holding up really well. That was
Good.
I had a Ruckus wireless link between a house and a shed, and replaced that with the Ubiquity, and the camera, the PTZ out on the shed has been working fantastic. So
nice.
Definitely glad to get that one out of the way. But the alarm one still eludes me. I can't. I keep pushing it day to day, but still that alarm job, the Bosch alarm job for a friend, it's something I have to get done this week. I'm going to say it again, but and I've got some serious plans to get it done today. It's Monday here at the moment.
Yeah.
So I've put my basketball gear in the car, so I've got no excuses. I need to come home for anything first. I can just stay out as late as I can. And we have a basketball team that we obviously play every week, but I don't like to miss that. So if I can get both of them done tonight, that'd be great.
Cool. So yeah, get that Bosch alarm job done. It's been on the agenda for the past couple of weeks, Mick.
I know. It's good to have actually got someone to be accountable to now for it.
Well,
So,
you got a whole team of support too, man. Reach out if you need anything. Just get it done.
I will. Thanks.
Yeah. What else you got going on? Anything?
This is probably a long-term goal. Remember a couple of our early chats, so I talked about putting some tutorials together. So I've just about to buy a Blue Yeti microphone.
Cool.
To actually get some serious recording done about for some tutorials and future training courses that I want to put together for comms guys. So I'm about to buy a Blue Yeti USB microphone, which I'm actually not looking for a new one. I'm just trying to find a used one on eBay. But yeah, pretty excited to get one of those and test that out and sort of start that process of being serious about putting some tutorials together.
I think that's great, Mick. Will Hoffman from CBS Tech NY bought that for his podcast, and I thought it sounded pretty good. And also Theron from Cable Connections, he said he's going to send me one, but he never did. So if anybody sees Theron, tell him I'm looking for him and my Blue Yeti. So there's that.
Yeah, oh, that's good. I'm glad it's a good brand. It's a good.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's a good thing.
It's pretty common. I hear a lot of people with podcasts and YouTubers and stuff use it. It's pretty good. It's cheap, so it's not bad.
Yep. I think there's a pro version as well. You just use the standard or the pro.
Oh, I don't know. I think I was gonna get the pro, and I'm not sure which one Will has. But if you listen to his podcast, his actually sounds better than my microphone that I use for the podcast. So that's
okay.
Good.
What do you use, Blake? Have you got the?
What do I use? I use a Rode. It's just a Rode condenser mic that I've used it for my camera, but I kind of repurposed it into using it plugged directly into my computer. Just a Rode microphone. About $150. It's nice, but it's not great. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Jacob, you on the call still? I think I hear him coming on. You still there, Jacob? No, he may have dropped off, actually. Let's see. Yeah, Jacob dropped off. Okay. And then Brandon, he had a lot of cool stuff going on this week. We did a podcast called MSP Weekly, which is pretty dope. Check that out. But he's not on the call today. And then Steve had to drop off. And then we got a couple other folks, I believe. Let's see, Chris Tiffany, what you got going on this week, brother?
Oh, we're finishing up a whole lot of fun up here in Milwaukee and new sites, Colorado, Georgia, and Virginia starting this week. So got crews all over the place. I have a meeting tomorrow on a 70-site camera, security, access control, and networking and phone system build. So hopefully we'll have a chance to win that one. And yeah, so it's even though our big customer is kind of in a hiatus at the moment, we're still rocking and rolling. So
yeah, it's only you got a lot of work to do. It sounds like
we always do. We always do.
Okay.
Trying to always keep it coming in, because the moment it stops coming in, that's when I get scared. So
yeah, I need that backup plan, I guess.
I've got too many employees that make way too much money for that. So
that's so funny. Cool.
But yeah, so
is that it?
Yeah, pretty much. So we got some stuff in no, the 70 camera, it's actually 70 different sites, probably with like 40 cameras each.
Oh,
so
geez, wait, okay, so 70 sites.
Yeah, 70 sites.
Roughly 40 cameras. Have you and you haven't won that bid yet, have you?
No, we've got a meeting on Monday for it, so hopefully
fingers crossed.
We'll see. So we've it's a referral in, so usually the referrals from this company usually pan out pretty good. So
yeah.
But
which system would you put in for a site that or a project that large?
We'll see, because it's all depending on how they actually want what they want set up. We haven't done enough discovery yet to know.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
The last similar one, we ended up with GeoVision because of the alarm integration they required. I prefer DW Spectrum, but there's not a lot of central command integration with Spectrum at this point, so it can be a little tricky.
Did you say GeoVision?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
They've got a lot of central command, central monitoring, live video verification, and geofencing, stuff like that, all with live local integrations into a lot of companies. So
cool.
Their cameras do really well. I'm not a huge VMS fan of theirs, but some days we make work what has to make work. So
cool. Yeah, I don't like their VMS platform at all, but
I don't either. But to be honest, there's most I don't like. So
yeah. Gotcha. Cool, man.
So, yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, that sounds good. I appreciate it. Eric, you still there? Eric Winders, what's up, brother? What you got going on for next week? What are your goals?
Cranking on social media, trying to step that up.
Yes.
My dream is to be like Pierce.
Yeah, I should be like. Why would you want to be like Pierce?
Well, I retract that statement.
Thank you.
I mean, my goal is to be like Pierce when I grow up. So
What,
you know.
what the fuck?
Just like pick and choose the good parts.
I'm going to sit here and just get beat up. That's fine.
Don't ditch it if you can't take it, Pierce.
No, I'm good. I'm sitting back waiting to see what comes in.
Hey, Pierce, are you a hugger? Do you like hugs?
Hugs are great, man.
I'm going to give you a hug when I see you. All right? Cool.
Oh, boy. I can't wait.
You should give him 2 just for good measure.
2 hugs? Somebody else has to give me a hug while I give him a hug. We'll give him a hug sandwich.
It's the awkward hug thing.
That's a deal.
Does.
Got to get a video of that, put it on social media.
That's the prerequisite for the meetup. Everybody gets a hug when they walk in.
Absolutely.
There you go.
All right.
So working on social media content, finishing up some web redesign stuff. Got a big Meraki install taking place this week. Stoked on that.
Meraki. How do you spell Meraki? That's that Cisco stuff, right? Cisco Meraki.
Yep.
Meraki's good stuff, Eric. You do a lot of it?
Do a lot of Meraki, yep.
Cool. Yeah, us too.
And then just firing things up for 2020, getting the game plan together and ironing that out.
Yep. Getting pumped for 2020. I love it.
Absolutely.
It's going to be huge, guys. Excited. Awesome. Who else? Who am I leaving out? Mark Salent is on the call, but he's just not replying. And then, oh, wait.
Yeah, no.
There he is.
I'm here. I'm going. Yeah, I'm going to a job right now.
Yeah, you
So I'm
sound like you're in an
listening
echo
in my
chamber.
car.
I got you. Yeah. What do you, yeah, is that the van? Are you driving the clean van? How's that coming?
No, because I have to go really far, so I'm going with the car. So
I got you.
And the van set up, so good. That is all. This week I should have all my stuff come in through for my little rack that I'm building for the Raspberry Pi. So I'm excited about that. Another goal, it's going to be a stretch goal, is getting better at making videos. It is incredibly difficult.
Getting better at
to make
making videos.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard. I'm just, whenever I see people that are making videos of what they're doing or tutorials, I'm really impressed now because it's actually incredibly difficult.
You know who's killing that too? Somebody to talk to is Will. Will is absolutely killing the
yes, he
the
is.
video editing stuff. I sent him a DM the other day and I said, "Bro, do you sleep?"
Check it out.
Yeah, just you do Facebook stories and Instagram stories just to kind of get your feet wet.
Yeah. Yep. So that's a stretch goal for me. Working on I'm getting videos for social media, tutorials, et cetera, et cetera.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna let you go drive. It's pretty bad audio quality, so I'm gonna let you go, Mark. Cool. All right. I think Josh, are you still on the phone call? Josh Leviton, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just trying to figure out how to unmute myself.
You did it. So, what are your goals for this week?
Have a government installation that we're going to finish roughing in. It's a 24 camera upgrade at one site with a half a dozen doors of access control. So just get that finished roughed in. Got a couple of residential projects that in theory the builder's actually going to let them move in, and we've got racks pre-built and ready to go in their homes. Really, on the social media side, kind of going back there is when you mentioned Google My Business is you starting to use that customers link as much as I can, and anytime we get a chance to get in front of a positive customer experiences, get that link in front of them almost immediately and say, hey, would you be willing to write a quick review? because that's going to help us out quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're familiar with my method of making a QR code to something like your domain name /review or review at your domain name dot your domain name, and then it goes directly to that Google My Business to review and click on a 4-star or 5-star.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I'd like to know how you're doing that, because what I've just been doing is I've got the My Business app on my phone, and I click on the share, and it pops up that, hey, please review us. Click on this link, and sending that directly to the client.
Yeah, if you can see my screen, if you type in review.mygss.com, so I created the subdomain that goes, this is the company that I work for, and if that redirects directly to, so if you're on the phone, you can just smash the 5-star button right there and press post, and that'll get you.
I don't know what just happened. All I can see is I can't see you at the moment for some reason.
Oh, you can't see me? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I'll just drop a link. It's review.mygss.com. I'll drop that into the agenda so you can look and see how that works.
Great.
And just
appreciate it.
Get like a QR code generator, and I print those out and put them on a little like index card and hand them to the technicians and incentivize them monetarily, like $20 if they get a customer to leave a review and call their name out. So that's
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Yep. So yeah, just print a whole bunch of those out and incentivize your technicians, because they're customer facing and they want money and they want to do a good job, or most of them do. So there's that.
That works.
Cool. I think, is there anybody else I left out? I think I went down this very large list. I think we're good. Got a lot of action items, a lot of stuff. Does anybody else have any other questions, comments, concerns? If not, we'll wrap up. All right, my friends, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. We'll just keep getting after it, and we'll be in touch on Slack and every other social network out there on the internet. I really appreciate it, guys. Y'all take care.
Everybody have a good week. See you guys.
Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.